This is Sunset Secrets, Season 2, Episode 4, and I'll be your host and narrator, Lana Oriani. Welcome to Sunset Secrets.
Do you even think that they looked at that?
Well, they you mean looked at the petition?
No, I'm asking. Do you think they read what you submitted?
Well, they read part of it because of what I read in the order. They obviously didn't pay close attention now because at the end of it they said that they're referring to Jamie as being pro se. But they addressed some of the issues, so I don't think the judge looked at it, but his law clerk did.
Now, taking us back to 2001, March 2001, I'm going to talk about some of the minor children that were interviewed by police in terms of what they saw while they were at the playground, anywhere in Linmar. And remember, these are important accounts because, according to the police, there were minor juvenile children, that kept referring to the cemetery. First, I want to talk about Marcus. These officers, along with Sergeant Roberts and another Alibi police officer, made contact with the above listed subjects, and it was on March 16, 2001 that this information was received via interview. Information had been received that Marcus and his sister Latoya were some of the children playing near the basketball court at the time of the shooting. Miss Jackson was contacted and advised of the need to interview the children. She advised that she is the legal guardian for Marcus and his sister, Latoya. Latoya advised that Marcus was present, but Latoya had already gone to school. Miss Jackson advised that Marcus was available, but that Latoya had already gone to school. She advised that Marcus had been out playing and might have heard things, but knew very little about the incident. She further advised that Marcus is farsighted and would not have been able to actually see what was occurring in the scene. Marcus was interviewed and confirmed that he was out playing on the basketball court area around 8 o'clock. And that was the time of the shooting. With him was his sister Latoya, Tiki, Jordan, and DeAndre. They were playing on the basketball court when they heard some shots being fired. He felt that the shots came from the area of the scene. He described it as being from the playground area at Linmar, but behind the fence. This officer drew a crude sketch of the area, and Marcus identified the shots as coming from the area of the scene. He advised that he was not certain, but felt that he heard 3 shots fired. He advised that the shots were fired very rapidly. He advised that when he heard the shots, he looked in the direction the sound came from. As he looked up, he observed 2 people running from the scene. He advised that one person ran directly from the shooting location towards the woods that sat behind Linmar. The other person ran around the back of the building where they had been standing. He felt that this person was heading back toward the center of Linmar, but from the back side of the building he was looking at. He advised that he also observed sparks coming from one of the people as he heard the shots fired. This officer asked him if he could describe what any of the people looked like that were standing or running from the area of the scene. He started to answer the question, but was abruptly stopped by Miss Jackson. Miss Jackson advised that he did not see anything and could not make any identifications of the persons involved in the shooting. She advised that Marcus is farsighted and could not see to where the shooting occurred. She advised that she would not allow him to be questioned any further. She advised that she has to live in Linmar, and so do the children, and that she was not going to allow them to say anything further. She apparently fears retaliation from members of her community that are aligned with the parties involved in this incident. Attempts were made to convince her to allow Marcus and Latoya to be interviewed, but she could not be convinced. No further information was obtained at this time or at this location. On April 19th, 2001, Latoya finally got interviewed, and that is the sister to Marcus, and it happened at the Aliquippa Middle School in the presence of Aliquippa School District Prevention Specialist Sylvia Benson. Latoya is the sister of previously interviewed Marcus. Corporal Melder asked Latoya where she was prior to and at the time of the shooting. Latoya advised that she was on the basketball court playing with Tiki, Jamal, Anna, and Marcus. While they were playing basketball, a black man dressed in all black walked along the fence by the playground area and pointed at them with his finger. He didn't say anything while he walked. Latoya's versions of the activities of the man in black were sketchy. She relays that she saw him walk along the playground fence. She then saw him near the graveyard fence. She said she saw someone, but Tiki said it was just a shadow. Tiki then said he thought he saw someone else. She also relayed that the man in the black ran behind the buildings prior to the shooting. She knew someone was running behind the Linmar unit because she was over there and heard the grass crunch. She advised that when she heard the gunshots, she attempted to count them. Silence, and then one after another for 6 shots. When the first shots were fired, the group at the basketball court all ran toward the office, which is a Linmar Community Center. When they reached the front of the center, she heard the last one. Latoya advised that Marcus and Jamal approached a police car and told the police what happened. Latoya and the other girls walked to the Linmar store. While they were walking to the store, she saw Ryan. She told him what happened. Then Ryan went down the hill. After the shooting, she saw the cops stop Russell in his car. I asked her if she knew the man in black. She said that she did not, but the next day when she was talking to Chantel, Maya, and Anna, and Audrey, one of them said it was Russell and Derek who pointed at them. We asked if she saw Derek that night. She said she saw him at Missy McCoy's house. He asked her if she saw Jamie Brown, Too Sweet, or AC Taylor that night. She said that she didn't see Jamie or Too Sweet. She said that she doesn't know AC. We asked her if she saw Darnell Hines. She said that she knows Darnell and that he is her cousin. She saw Darnell with Juan and the others around 7 p.m., at which time he was walking around Linmar. They were going to plan 11 extension. She didn't see Darnell in the area after that. Latoya said that her uncle, Jaquez, told her not to tell the police anything because they didn't find the killer, and if they knew and know that she was to say something, they'll send someone to kill her. We told Latoya if her brother was over by the playground at the time of the shooting. She said that he didn't go over by the playground until after the shooting. Another student interviewed at the school, again happening on 4/19/2001. Aldrina. She was interviewed at the Aliquippa High School by Trooper John. Also present was Sylvia Benson, prevention specialist with the Aliquippa School District. At the time, Adriana was in 6th grade. She advised that she was walking from the Linmar store on the night of 3/15/2001 with Maya, Tiara, Adrina, and Chantel when she heard what she thought to be firecrackers. They were close by the steps in Linmar from Wagman. When the shots were heard, she saw Ajon, Tiki, Latoya, and Matthew on the basketball court. She didn't see anybody in the playground. She saw a blue car go by as it turned and went down the hill. She saw 2 black males run up to the Wanamaker's house after the shooting. She could not recognize who they were and could not describe how they were dressed. She did not see Darnell Hines that evening. Latoya told Adriana that she saw who did the shooting, but wasn't allowed to tell anyone. She reportedly was told by her aunt not to tell anyone. After the shooting, she saw a red car driving around. Maya and Anna said that they thought it was Jamie Brown's vehicle. There's a couple more kids that were, or teens, minors, that were at the Linmar basketball court area and walking to the store and such. And we're going to finish out those interviews here and then move into Jamie Brown's day on 3/15/2001. Finishing out the interviews that were conducted at the school, they talked with a minor child named Jordan, an Emma, a Tara, and then Maya was not available for interview because she was absent from school on 4/19. Jordan was interviewed at 12:25 hours and stated that he had been on the basketball court with Tiki and Matthew, stated that he left before them and walked down to the store, stated that he got some chips and a drink and was walking back to his apartment at 532 Linmar at the time in the 500 block when he heard the shots. He denied seeing anything, stated that he went right to his apartment, and then later with his mother and others, he did walk up to where all the police were. Stated that he did see Officer Nimes' vehicle at the substation when he left the basketball court that night before going to get the chips. He did not recall those seeing Officer Nime. Stated that his mother is Monica Horton and his stepfather is Marty. Monica was who testified at the preliminary hearing. Stated that he does not know, that he does know Darnell Hines, Jamie Brown, Russell McKenzie, and Derek Cotman, but he did not recall seeing any of them when he left the basketball courts. Stated that he did observe Darnell get arrested after he went up to the scene with his mother. Stated that he also saw the police officer with the dog on the leash, but he did not see Derek Cotman get arrested. Emma Rose had a brief interview at the school as well. She stated that she is in some of the same classes with Tiki Hayes, and she does not talk to him. That she does talk to him. Stated that he has never confided anything in her. Stated that she has only been in the Aliquippa district for a year. Prior to that, she attended Rochester schools. Stated that she hasn't heard any other rumors relating to the shooting. Tara was interviewed at 14:25 hours and stated that the only thing she knows is that she heard Maya talking to other classmates who she didn't know or remember. Stated that she overheard Maya saying that she had seen the whole thing, meaning the shooting. Stated that she does know Maya, but doesn't consider her a close friend. Stated that from what she knows of her, she does tend to exaggerate things sometimes. Stated that she does not know whether Maya was being honest or not, being truthful. Stated that she has not heard any of the rumors relating to the shooting. And then again, on 4/19/2001, when all these interviews were going on at the school for the minor children, teens, Maya was not present that day. Now this brings us to Jamie Brown, and how does this man get convicted of even third degree murder, let alone anything, when his account for his day and his evening never once changed. He has phone records with his mobile cell phone, his family line at his mom's house on Highland Avenue. But when you investigate a case and whoever is the person that is, being accused of a crime, you're relying heavily on this person to explain their whereabouts and help any way possible. Their lawyers, anything that's needed to show hey, I did not do this, I wasn't there, all those good things. But saying that you didn't do something versus proving that you didn't do something. And so let's find exactly what did Jamie Brown do that day, and how could this jury completely disregard evidence that supports Jamie Brown's whereabouts on the night of the murder. On 3/17/2001, Jamie Brown was arrested and interviewed. Brown stated that he had nothing to do with the murder and wasn't on Linmar. He stated that he was on 3rd Avenue between 6 and 7 p.m. talking to Rob Hines and Tez Fair before leaving Plan 11 with his dad. He stated him and his dad went to his mother's house on Highland Avenue. As it got dark, to remove boxes of audio equipment and shoes from his room, and had plans on cleaning his dog kennels with his dad. Stated that he was waiting on his girlfriend to drop off the car keys to the 1996 Chevy Impala that he had to pick up from Ambridge, while he, his dad, mom, and Marlene and the kids watched the movie Colors that was on cable TV that night. After his girlfriend dropped the keys off and his dad drove to Ambridge to pick up the Impala, he was out in front of Kwame's house at 713 Keir Street, where Melissa and Kwame went to Northwest Chevrolet on 2516 Dusk Ave, Ambridge, Pennsylvania, to pay for the car service, pick it up, and park it in front of Kwame's house while they went shopping and left from there so the car would be retrieved before the shop closed for the day of 3:15. See the defendant's Exhibit D for the Impala car service receipt. He stated after he and Dad returned from Ambridge with the Impala, he and Mr. Rayfield Tarver, to see if the Impala issues that he had found were corrected, to pick him up to take him and his girlfriend to get a rental car from the airport that he planned for the weekend. Mr. Brown stated that after returning from the airport with the rental, he dropped his girlfriend off at home, and at the time she lived on Scottswood Drive. He took Kwame home back to Ambridge, dropping her off. He stated after dropping Kwame off at home, he drove to his mom's house for a while, then returned to his girlfriend's house for the night. Again, there was a subpoena for the phone records of AT&T for the house on Highland Avenue, 500 Highland Avenue, which was his mother's residence. And then also there was a subpoena for his girlfriend's cell phone records, at the time, Melissa. And then they also then subpoenaed his own cell phone records. Okay, so Jamie Brown has his, story that he gives. Not only does he give his story that day, but his family was interviewed. And so what did, Jamie Brown's family have to say when they were interviewed? And an interview with Jeffrey Baldwin, Jamie Brown's dad, he stated that he was at Rhonda's house, that's Jamie Brown's mom, on 500 Highland Avenue, with his son helping him move boxes of car audio equipment and other items from his room to the basement, and was supposed to help him with his dog kennels. He stated the family was watching the movie Colors till about 8:30. Another affidavit, an interview, again happening on 3/17 and 3/20, was Jamie Brown's mom. She stated her son Jamie was home the night of the murder, and she has witnesses to prove that he was home, and if anybody's saying he was there, it is a lie. She stated that Marlene, Lena, and Justine, their children, and Jeff Baldwin could attest to it. That was when she was interviewed on 3/17, the same, day that Jamie Brown was interviewed after and upon his arrest. She stated that her son was home at 5 p.m. until about 8:39 and didn't see him anymore that night, but talked to him, telling him to stay off the streets. The call was between 9 and 10 after she paged him. She also stated that her son and Baldwin, Jamie's dad, left a little after Justin and Lena arrived. Also at trial, this was from trial testimony, an affidavit of Jeffrey Baldwin, Jamie Brown's father. He states on 3/15/2001 that at 8:25 p.m. he was at Rhonda's house, which is the 500 Highland Avenue address. with his son when he called his mother Dolores. And Jamie yelled in the background, "What's up, Grandma?" as he explained where he was. Again, I was looking over everybody's statements. When did these statements come in? And on 3/17, you have Jamie being interviewed by the police after his arrest. And you have family members being interviewed by the police on the same day. And everybody is saying the same thing. Now, I came upon Melissa, Jamie Brown's girlfriend at the time, her interview on 3/17. And she states that she and a friend, Kwame, and kids went shopping together earlier that day and both returned to her apartment around 7:30. She also said that about an hour later, Brown called her, stating he had heard her cousin, Alco police officer Andre Davis, was shot on Linmar. She then hung up, calling others to find out. She also said that Jamie and Rayfield showed up around 9:45 to 10 o'clock that night to take her to get a rental car from the airport. After getting the rental car, they came straight home. But when they got home, Jamie took Kwame and her kids home to Ambridge. She stated that Richard Byers can attest to Jamie being at his mother's during the time of the crime. Then a couple months had passed, and then it was in May, so almost like 2 months later, then the police talked and interviewed Kwame. And she stated that her and Melissa went shopping with their children on 3/15 at around 4 p.m. and returned to Melissa's residence around 8. Kwame stated that she called Andre Stevens on his cell phone from one of Melissa's home lines, while at the same time, Melissa received a call from Jamie. She stated that she stayed at Melissa's apartment complex for a while, visiting relatives till about 11 p.m. when Jamie drove her home to Ambridge. Now, the phone records are going to come into play here, and it's, when they're given the statements that they're giving back in, 2001, 3/17, right there after, the Officer 9 was murdered, they didn't have access to phone records like how we do today. And so, when I actually looked at these phone records, which we're going to look at together, and I'm going to show you guys exactly, wow, let's take a look at this. Are people being truthful? Were these phone calls made? What type of time gappage are we talking about? Where is there any downtime? We have a bunch of people that are using phones and they're calling landlines and cell phones, and this should all match up with their statements. And it absolutely does. And I'm going to break it down and show you exactly how it does. And that's going to be in your Tuesday follow-up. But for starters, the subpoena for the phone records at Highland Avenue. Again, that's going to be the residence of Rhonda, Jamie Brown's mom. At 7:04 and 58 seconds, there is a phone call from Jamie Brown's girlfriend, Melissa, for 41 seconds. Then at 7:11, Eddie Taylor's girlfriend, Melissa's house. Rayfield Tarver and Rosemary, George's house, that was at 7:12, 10 seconds. Then you got Eddie Taylor's pager at 7:13, 7 seconds. Then you got Eddie Taylor's pager again, 7:13 for 13 seconds. Then you got girlfriend Melissa for 11 minutes and 36 seconds beginning at 7:40. That was the big The big phone call for me. Then you have, again, this is all on the landline, so this is the phone, the landline at Highland Avenue, where Jamie Brown's mom lives. So you got activity at 7:04, 7:11, 7:12, 7:13, 7:13, and then at 7:40 and 40 seconds, you have 11-minute and 36-second phone call. And that's at the time that none other than Joe Kirkland says that he saw Jamie Brown flying down the Linmar Terrace hill and almost hit him with another male in the vehicle. How is that possible when Jamie Brown is talking to his girlfriend Melissa for 11 minutes and 36 seconds? The other big significant part of the phone records that we're looking at here and have to do with the Highland Avenue phone call between Melissa and Jamie. The phone call started at 7:40 and 40 seconds, and it lasted for 11 minutes and 36 seconds. That would take the phone call to about 7:52 and 40 seconds, so roughly 7:53. Then you'd have to give Jamie a couple minutes to get himself together, to get in his car, and to then possibly drive over to Highland Avenue, or from Highland Avenue to Linmar. Again, being a 5-minute trip, taking him to approximately 8 p.m. on 315. If Jamie Brown is getting over to Linmar Terrace at 8 p.m., that would be after the officers like Roberts, Cassidy, Young, they stated that they had just gotten over to Linmar just a little bit before 8 and the gunshots already happened. The significance of me mentioning this, because Jamie Brown's house line, his mother's phone records at 500 Highland Avenue, they had a gap between 7:40 and 40 seconds until 8:25 and 27 seconds. And that's Jamie saying that that's the gap when he was cleaning his room. Well, regardless if he was cleaning his room or not, him hanging up with Melissa and driving over to Linmar would have been after the shots were fired, according to the police reports on all police officer reports. Then Jamie Brown would have to travel on over there, find A.C. Taylor, find Officer Nime, and commit all of this before 8 o'clock when the gunshots supposedly went off and the body was found at 8:15. How is this possible? How does this timeline work? And the answer is, it doesn't. Tonight's episode is sponsored in part by Truth and Transparency YouTube channel, Fight for a Family nonprofit. Fight for a Family nonprofit thanks all of its members. Consider joining at www.fight4family.com. Next week on Sunset Secrets. Well, I think that it's important to, obviously we know now that it's 2021 that we had some people recanting statements and all those things. But I still think it's really important to treat this as, a new investigation and to really look into every minuscule, every detail, because you never know what you can miss, what you can find. So I really think breaking down Jamie's whereabouts and then comparing those to what got him ultimately convicted, which was Joe Kirkland's statements on the stand.